Hey everybody, so I had a friend of mine that was interested in learning how to do the buffalo plaid, and these are my door tags. So let me show you quickly here. So this is what I'm going to walk you through doing, buffalo plaid. So sorry about that. So I start off by getting, this is a glitter one that I started, so I'm going to step you through it, but just ignore the glitter. So I do 2 coats of solid red on it first, and then I let it dry. And then after it is dry, I take, so I'm going to go with this one here so you can see it. So it's nice and dry. And then what I do is I find the middle of it. So I'm going to find the center of this. I'm hoping you can see this. So it's here. So let me see. I find the center. Ready? So I know mine are 7 inches, so I know I need 3.5. So once I have a line for the center, I'm going to tape it off, and I'm taping it vertically. So the way I do it is I take one long piece, tape it off right down the center. So once I have the first piece started, right down the center. And then I tape mine off along down across the edges, because I think it looks better when you wrap the plaid from the top and around the edges. So I'm going to finish off by taping this off. The other piece I do so that I have them evenly spaced is once I have the center one on, I take another piece of painter's tape and stick it right beside it. Okay, and then I take a third piece of painter's tape and I put right beside that one. So once I have the 3 pieces aligned together, I tear the center one out, and then that's giving me the even lines across here. I'm not so worried about my end ones not quite being even. I mean, you can even it and then tape off the excess, but I like to wrap my plaid around, and I think it looks better. So I'm not going to worry about that end. So then I use that same piece that I already peeled off again to line up my other side. And I'm going to tear off another piece. I tore these extra long. And I do the same thing on this side, lining this up. And folding it down over my edges. And then again, I just simply tear the center one out. Okay, so once I have my vertical line, so this is step 2. So let me just recap with you. Step 1, we paint the board solid red, 2 coats. Then we go and we put our vertical stripes on it. And when we do this, make sure it's nice and dry. I'm going to press down my tape really good so I don't get any bleeding. Okay, now that that is down, so the first coat of paint that you want to put on this is you want to mix your red and your black to get more of a maroon color. So I've been using these home decor chalk paints. I got these from Michael's. They are really, really good. I really like the chalk paint. So I've been using those. I want a little bit more red in there. Okay. And then I'm just going to mix this up because we want this to be like a maroon. I had already started mixing this, so I'm really sorry. You want a maroon. You can make it as dark or light as you really want. It's your discretion. My first one I made was pretty dark. The second one I made was almost, I was like, man, that looks black, but it's good. You can tell afterwards. So, okay, so I'm going to use this color here, and we're just going to move this over so I'm closer to my piece here. Okay, so I taped this off, and I'm going to paint my stripes with my maroon. And like I said, I like to paint the sides of mine. I think it looks better when it's wrapped around there. So I'm gonna paint this up, and then I'll go to the next step. That way I can show you. So you can make this shade of maroon like whatever, like if you want it darker, if you want it to be very bold. My first one was really dark. My second one was lighter. This one is in the middle of that. So and I have paper down because I'm on my dining room table. I didn't want to go to my craft room. It's kind of cold in the basement right now. So okay. Okay. So once you have that on there and it's drying, like I said, I like to paint my sides. So once you have that on there and it's drying, so it's all dry. So after it dries, this one looks really dark, so I apologize, but after it's on there and it's dry, you want to peel off your layer of your tape. So we're going to peel these off, maybe. But this one was really dark. That's okay. You can actually peel this off. Oh, shoot. While they're drying, that way they don't peel your paint like I just did here. That's okay, I'll fix it. So while these are drying, I'll just go and show you. You can tear this off and let it dry. Which is usually best because then it doesn't dry with your paint and then it doesn't tear your paint like I just did on that one. Thankfully it's just red and we can touch it up. I'm going to set this down for just a second so you can stare at my green block for a second. Sorry about that. Okay, I needed 2 hands on that one. So we're going to tear these off. Okay, So now as that dries, okay, so as this is drying, then once it's dry, you're gonna go to your board. And so this is one I already had redone, so it's dry. And you're going to tape your stripes across it. I'm gonna say vertically again, but as you can see. So now you're gonna tape your stripes across horizontally. And to do that, it's kind of the same technique. So you're going to take, oh, sugar. So you're going to take your painter's tape. You're going to put your first layer down. I'm going to have paint everywhere. Okay. So you're going to take your painter's tape and trying to get away from that paper. There we go. You're going to put your first one down. And again, you go right close to the edge. And like I said, I like to go around the edges. There we go. I like to go around the edges. Then you take your next piece of painter's tape and you're going to put this one down and you're going right up against that one. This is your guide. Okay, this is going to be your guide to put the third piece. So, and then you're going to do this the whole way down your board. I'm horrible at making videos. I apologize. So, you're going to put this on here. Like so. Okay, wrap that around. Then you can peel this guide piece off. There, you're going to have them spaced evenly. And put your guide back on. Okay, put your guide back on, and so on and so on. So let me set this down. Let me get this all marked for us. So when you have two hands, it kind of goes a little bit quicker. And once you have this, move my paint tray here. I really like wrapping my tape around the edges. It gives your buffalo plaid like all the way around look instead of just on the front. The video that I had originally watched on how to do this, it was only on the front, and the sides of the board that she had done were like beet fire engine red. So to me, it didn't really make it look as plaid, just because it was more like, it just didn't wrap around, so it didn't look as good to me. But, I mean, you don't have to really wrap it around. I just think it kind of looks a little bit better. Okay, so once you have this all taped on, like so. So now you have this all taped on, and what you're going to do is you're going to mix a lighter shade. So you want more red, less black. The last one had more black in it, making it more of a maroon color. This time you want more red and less black. So I had it mixed here and you can kind of see. So let me get this mixed here for us. More red. And then I just dipped my brush, here it is, in here and got some black. And we're just gonna mix this together. So darker goes on first. Well, you do your solid red, then your darker. You have mix it more maroon, black, more black than red to get a darker red. Now we have a maroon. So you can kind of see, so this was our darker maroon, and then we got the lighter. Once you have your tape on, you're going to do the lighter maroon across where your tape is not. So okay. And you can use 2 layers of the dark if you want. Mine's dark enough that I don't think I need 2 layers. That's just, I don't think I do, just because mine's so dark. And then so you're gonna do this on the whole board, okay? Once you have the whole board done and it's dry like this, you're going to go and leave these pieces of tape on and take your painter's tape and go back down these lighter red squares that you can see inside here, leaving the darker squares open. So I'm going to set that up. So this time I won't need a guide because you can see the squares. Let me get one on here and then I can kind of show what I'm talking about. You won't need a guide to do this one because you're gonna be able to see where it goes based off of where you were painting. So now I've got it like this. So I'm back down on these more lighter squares. So I'll put a row of tape here and a row of tape here, okay? All right, let me get that set up. So sorry about this. I'm kind of by myself. The kids are in bed. Oh, shoot. So, it's kind of aggravating, but kind of nice because it's kind of quiet. So I was going to do this when I got home, but we decided we wanted to do spelling tonight and just do every day. This is kind of a crazy week with Halloween coming on Thursday, and then I get to dress up for work, so we were working on my costume tonight. So, okay, so this is the final step. So once we have this on here, let me show you. So now your final step is you have this covering back down the original spots where you had taped. Now, what you want to do is you want to have a clean brush, and you are going to paint this with solid black. So let me get a brush and we'll get that started. I thought I had enough brushes and I don't. Okay. Okay, so now that we have another brush, let's see. So I'm just going to dip my brush in my black, and I'm just going to go across. And so you're basically just repainting these squares. I usually use the foam brushes to do this, but again, they're down in my craft room and I didn't want to go down there. So I didn't feel like going to the basement, so I grabbed the brushes that are out by my Cricut and I'm using them. So once this is on there, I just had a ladybug come flying onto my dining room table. So we paint this all up with our black. Like this. I kind of like to use the foam brushes better, because then you don't have as many of these little strokes from the bristles and stuff in your paint. But like I said, I didn't feel like going down to the basement, so brush strokes it is. And the nice thing about these chalk paints is that you really don't have to put them on thick, but they are thick. Even when you don't put them on thick, they are very thick. So you don't really end up using as much paint to paint these because the paint is so thick that you really don't use that much. So we are almost finished. So I sent my friend already the dimensions of what I use for these. These are my door tags that we use 18 inches long, and they are 7 inches wide. And the smaller end is where the hole is to make them look more like a tag with an angle on them. So I have the measurements. If you're interested, I can try to send them to you. You just have to message me and let me know. So, okay, so it's all painted. So this is what your final say-so is, okay? And then we pretty much just go through and we're going to reveal and peel the paint off, or the tape off if they. So I start with these ones because they are on the top, since we just did those. And I was gonna say, oh, my black was, but that's the hole. Sometimes you have a little bit of bleeding. To me, I think that's okay, because if you have it perfect, then to me, like, it's not supposed to be perfect. But you can always go back over and touch them up. I don't throw away any of my paint until I'm completely done. That way, if I have to go back over and touch it up, I still have the same color since here we go. Oh, shoot, I left that tape on too long. So see, that would be why. But that's okay. I can go over that. I have that color. So I left this tape on, and I actually used a hair dryer to dry these so that I could walk you through these steps. So that's probably why my paint stuck to my tape, because I've never had that happen before. Stuck, and it really helped if my other half would have came and held the camera for me, but he is in the garage. Lord only knows what he's doing out there, so instead of bothering him, I am managing to do this. So one more. And there you have it. There is the buffalo plaid minus my little, but that's okay because I have still my paint, so I can touch this up, and I can do that by putting a little bit of my paint. Get my red out. So I can touch that up by just there. And the best part is it's right by the hole, so you're really not even going to see it once I hang the rope and the bow on there. You really won't even see that. It's probably because I used a hairdryer to dry these, and I've never done that before, so that was kind of interesting. And then that was my darker one, so I can use this and just touch that up. There, perfect, and then that can dry. And there you have it. There is the 4 steps to buffalo plaiting. If you have any questions, just send me a text or shoot me a message and I will try to answer it. Thank you for watching.